And it is Monday again. Here we go. It's time to connect and see what is going on this week. So looking forward to you joining me and seeing what it is that we will be connecting to this week and what it is that the divine wants to share with us, what it is that Spirit would like us to pay attention to this week. There's been some wonderful energy patterns happening with the beautiful full moon. It has been an exquisite full moon, but has brought about quite a lot of emotion. So those of you that maybe have been processing emotion, is a lot to there's a lot around that. However, the most important message that's coming forward is to find the stillness in the storm, as to not let the outside influence you as much as it is. So we'll be seeing what it is that comes forward tonight. So as I was getting ready for tonight, I connected in to see what is the crystal for this week. And the crystal for this week is a crystal that some of you may not be familiar with. It's not a very, very well-known crystal, but a very, very magical crystal. Quite honestly, it's a crystal I think anybody who's dealing with energy needs to have in their kits. Sorry, I'm just fixing my dress here. We get dressed. So the crystal that's come forward for tonight is Shungite. Shungite, Shungite. You'll see it's a black stone. Looks very similar to an obsidian or even a jet, but feels very different. Shungite is a miracle stone. Its major purpose is detoxification and purification. It's one of the only crystals that can truly transmit its own electromagnetic frequency, and so it's very, very powerful to have around any electromagnetic frequencies that are in your home. So by your phone, by your computer, by your microwave, by your TV, it transforms them. It purifies them, I think is a better way. Very, very powerful crystal to put in water. It removes all toxins in water, and probably really, really all water should come with the Shungite. So Shungite is not so much, when we talk about protection, it's, one of the things with protection is it's often governed by fear, and we don't need to walk around fearful, but this purifies. And so a lot to do with how do you need to purify and detoxify this week, not only on the physical, but on the emotional, on the mental, and the spiritual. So what is it that is, what are the toxins you need to face, or the toxicity in your life? And so this coming to purity, coming to clarity. Clarity is a very big word that's been coming up in the readings lately. And how do we create clarity? And the only way to create clarity is to focus on what needs to be purified and to detoxify these things. So Shungite is the crystal for this week, and I'm sure Nikki will connect you to some Shungite when she finds out about it. It really is a magical crystal, miracle stone. Right, so let us see what it is that the guides want to see. Hello to everybody who's online. If you're here for the first time, welcome. If you're a repeat joiner, it's wonderful to connect with the tribe and to see you all. Please feel free to share this reading out and to connect it onto other pages, share it onto other pages and onto your pages so that we can get more of the message out. The more people share it, the more exposure we all get to healing, and that's the main purpose of doing this sort of stuff. So, right, so let us see what it is that the guides want to tell us this week. So I'm going to start off with the message from Spirit, which is the weekly message that's available for everybody and really taps into the sort of general energy patterns that are around. And so you can listen to the three messages. The first one is, what do you need to pay attention to? Where do we need to wake up? The next one is, what support is available for us? And then the third one is, what inspiration is available for us? What support is available? What opportunities exist for us this week. So you can listen to those messages and connect the dots for yourself as to where does this make sense for yourself. And often there's a lot of truth for each person in hearing these messages, because that's the way they work. Right, so let us see. Okay, so we always said only messages that serve the highest good for all come forward tonight. And we bring forward those messages of love and light Where do we need to play this week? All right, so, so beautiful cards. The cards come forward in terms of where do we need to pay attention to this week? Where do we need to wake up? What is it we need to start giving attention to? Because whatever we're attending to, whatever we're giving attention to, is what we are creating. It's a little bit like a feeding system. If I'm giving attention to something, I'm feeding it, and then it creates more and more and more of that. And the cards come forward is be peace. Oh, just such a beautiful image when we see these beautiful candles and the one lighting the other. And this comes from the suit in the card deck that is about own the part you play, and it's all about this infinite loop of creativity. And so when we have a look at what we are creating in our lives, the question is, how do we create more peace? Now, for those of you that are in South Africa, there's a lot that's been going on recently in terms of gender violence and unhappiness and so many toxic behaviors that are becoming exposed. And in fact, in the world, this is the truth of what we're seeing, is that things are being exposed. Things, injustices and impurities, things that we need to detoxify from, are being exposed in the world. And this aligns with the crystal that's come forward. And so the question of how do we face this? How do we process it? How do we deal with it? And some of you may have seen, I put a long post this morning on some of this, because I just, I was guided to no longer keep quiet about it. And the thing is, how do we heal this? How do we bring peace to situations that, quite honestly, don't feel very peaceful and don't feel very, it feels like we should be fighting and need to fight for it. But how do we stand up with peace? How do we stand up for injustices in the world in a very peaceful way? And the most important way to do this is to make peace with ourselves, is to notice where it is that I am in a place of unrest or unhappiness or war, even within myself. Because when I heal that, I am able to be more at peace internally. And so this idea of, when I was talking about the Shungite and the detoxify your heart and your mind and your body and your spirit, when your heart and your mind are at odds with each other, fighting each other, then there's a personal war going on inside of you. And so how do we come to a place of peace internally? And peace is all about perspective. Peace it's an energy of not tolerance, because when we tolerate something, we just put up with it. It's the permission to engage in something in a peaceful manner. So we do need to use our words and use our bodies and stand up for what we want to, but in a way that generates opportunities for peace, not for more war, not for more judgment, not for more separation. And this requires listening. We need to listen more. Listen to what is going on. Listen to what is needed. Listen with an open heart to yourself and to others. There's so much speaking and not enough listening. And so how do we start listening to each other in a way that genders not a tolerance, because I've spoken about that, but a connection? Because when people feel seen and heard and valued, there is peace. If I feel disrespected, rejected, dismissed, dismayed, there is an avoidance of peace. And so I need to fight for that. There's I saw a meme the other day, or I think Eric told me about a meme that said, the next time somebody is behaving badly for attention, and we say it's attention-seeking behavior, it's much more appropriate for us to say it's connection-seeking behavior. People want to feel connected. If you want to connect in with, it's on my YouTube channel, or you can sign up for my newsletter through the Facebook page, and on new moon, I send out a channeling that I do from a group of beings called the Diamond Ray Council. And this month's one was all about connection. So people are seeking connection, and connection leads to peace. And the way that we connect is through listening. So when we open up our ears and our hearts and our minds to listen to people, listen without the need to interpret, listen without the need to even understand, listen without the need to agree or disagree. Just listen so that you can hear. And you can stand true in your own opinion. This is valid and accurate, but listen. Then people feel connected, and then dialogue can happen. And then we can influence. And so this is about creating more and more peace. So, perfect. Then the card that then comes forward in terms of what support is available this week. And so I love how these cards always work. So if the thing we need to pay attention to is peace, the opportunity that exists this week is to still your mind. And you'll see it's from the same suit. Still your mind. Still your mind. Hey, Yickle, if we could get this one right, this would happen. Don't you think? I mean, especially when we think of our own inner peace. Like, how much of your own peace is disrupted by the mind interrogating, the mind doubting. Cheryl, if you're hearing birds, I don't know if you're hearing birds by you, but I do have a parrot, and she is singing and making quite a lot of noise. So if you're hearing that, that might be what you're hearing. So stilling our mind is not the same as not thinking. Stilling your mind is actually bringing focus to something. It's about honoring your attention. So when we talk about something like meditation, many people think with meditation I must not think. It's not true. What's important is to let the thoughts flow and to bring focus to something, to get intentional and to give attention to something. So we're talking about the Shungite, whatever we're giving attention to, we are creating. And so the mind sometimes wanders, and when it wanders, we give attention to too many things. So stillness is about a centering process. It's about being intentional. It's about being focused. It's about pausing before reacting. When we react, we just are good animals. When we are intentional, we can become good human beings. And when we can become intentional about peace, when we can become intentional about stillness, the stillness is not the same as quietness. It is about finding that place of calm in the chaos that I was talking about, so that I can sit in the middle of things and I can see it from a healthier perspective. So many of us get caught up in all the drama, caught up in all the toxicity, caught up in everything going on around us, and then we start to feed it because we are giving it attention. So how do we give attention to peace? For those of you that are wanting to promote yourselves on Facebook or send out messages to shift or change the world, and so from a social media perspective, please make sure it is not fueling the drama. Make sure it creates opportunities for peace. We need to stand up for whatever it is we believe in. We need to start detoxifying ourselves from things and impurities that no longer serve humanity. How do we do this in a loving, peaceful way? With boundaries, with assertiveness, without lying back and letting people just walk all over us, with the voice of compassion. And so to still the mind is firstly, the way they're showing it tonight is permission to do what you need to do. What I mean by that is that when you see this card, you'll see there's a labyrinth. If you've never walked a labyrinth, then I'll explain it very quickly. The labyrinth is very different to a maze. A maze is something where we need to think about how to get out of it. It's a bit of a trick. You know, we think about, do I go left, do I go right, what must I do? And I need to strategize and come up with things. When you walk into a labyrinth, there's one path in and it's the same path out. And when you look at it, you can't see the path. The path is a meandering path and leads its way through to the center. And so when you step into a labyrinth, you just take the next step. And each step leads you closer to the center. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to plot it. You don't have to plan it. You don't have to make a single decision about it. You just need to take the step. And so in order for us to honor this message of still the mind, it's where do you need to stop thinking and start taking the step towards something you're needing to do? Where the analysis paralysis needs to quieten down so that you can do what you need to do. Last week was a lot around taking action. And so this is again reinforcing this message of stop thinking, start acting. And if you can act in peace, even better. Right. So then we get the last card that's come forward. And this is the card of what opportunities exist this week. And this card's come up so much lately. Your dreams are calling you forward. Your dreams are calling you forward. You see the beautiful dream catcher there. And so this is on an individual and a collective level. If when we're talking about dreams, dreams are not nightmares. They're dreams that make us feel good, and anything that makes you feel good, when we can live a life that's got just more gratitude, more connection, more hope, more whatever it is, and more is not the important word there, it's just that idea. It's so important to think of your dreams as possible, as absolute possibilities. I had a reading with a guy today, a young guy. He was so amazing. I was so blown away by the fact that somebody so young would sit here and be open to his own questions and his own insights. And the way the guide spoke to him is that the only way to create anything, and remember they've been talking about giving attention to things, creates it, is to honor that it's possible. So in his case, he was asking a question about, would he be able to drive a car? And the guidance was, is it possible? If it's possible, align all your energy with it's possible. Because once you align your energy with the possibility of it, no matter how long it takes, then everything can align with that. And you can start to take action and start to get to the point of your life being what you want it to be. And so most of the time when I do any sort of workshops and I bring up this idea of dreams, and I say to people, I want you to think about your dreams or focus on your dreams. And then the very next thing is, and often it comes out of my mouth, and has in the past, is remember, dreams you don't have to believe they're possible for it to be a dream. In this case, what they're doing with the guidance is saying, actually, stop with that. Take your dreams and make them possible. I have a dream of a world that is more peaceful. Yeah, I do have that dream. Yeah? How do we start making that a possibility? I have a dream of homes being more peaceful, of people being more at peace with themselves, of people in work situations finding more peace and opportunity for peace. How do we make that possible? Now, that may not be your dream, but whatever your dream is to still your mind and open your heart to the possibility. And when you do that, you can take the steps to achieving what you want to achieve. Right, how beautiful is that? How beautiful. Nadine says, wow, I'm blown away. I did the Lift in the Veil meditation last night from the Beings of Light. And my message was peace, stillness, and connection. Sending you love and hugs. Oh, beautiful, 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 beautiful. Oh, thank you, Cheryl. That's lovely. It's so beautiful. All right, so let's move into doing the one-on-one readings. So those of you that are new here, just to set the frames, is that the way the one-on-one readings work for me is that the guides intuitively nudge me to whoever I'm going to do the readings for, and it's generally a person whose reading is going to support the broadest group. So if you don't get chosen, it does not mean there isn't a reading for you. It may mean that part of your reading is in what you're hearing from other people. Right, so let us see. What a beautiful message for tonight. All right, such beautiful energy. So let us start. Hammery, let's start with you tonight, my love. How are you? Can I get a general reading, please? Okay, Hammery, let's see what it is the guides want to tell you tonight. All right, so just keep asking, and I will get through as many readings as I possibly can. Okay, Hammery. Let me just take. All is exactly the way it's supposed to be. All is exactly the way it's supposed to be. So the way your guide's coming forward, it's your female guide in particular is coming forward tonight, Hamry, and she's kind of referencing a quote I've spoken about before, and she's referencing as let all that comes come and let all that must go go. And so this state of non-resistance is allowing things to come that need to come to you and things that need to leave. A large part of making great changes in our life, if we're wanting to change a pattern, change an identity, change a situation, change whatever it is, in that process is a process of that which no longer serves needs to be released. That needs to disappear in some way, shape, or form. That's not absolute truth in every way, shape, or form, but typically for something to emerge, something needs to leave. And so there's the spiritual teaching of endings and beginnings. And so as one thing ends, something else begins. And we can't always begin something if we haven't let something else end. What happens with that is that we may have all the intention of beginning something, but that which needs to end, we hold on to. And so we end up being torn in different directions. I did a talk once, and it was, you cannot be a caterfly. I've subsequently been told it's not a great heading for a talk, but I kind of like it, because the idea of being the butterfly, the sort of wanting to fly free, the wanting to find my wings, the wanting to step into my beauty, all these things, is if I'm attached to being a caterpillar, well then it doesn't matter how much dedicated work I do to being the butterfly, I'm stuck between worlds. And so the caterpillar needs to surrender to its death. And so the question that's coming up for you, and all that is exactly the way it's supposed to be, is there's a pottery here that is broken and gets re-put together with gold. Or think of it a little bit like the caterpillar, once it surrenders to its death, it actually transforms into the butterfly. The question that's coming up for you, Cameron, at this point in time, especially with this idea of detoxification and release, is what do you need to let die? What do you need to let it end? This could be an old pattern. It could be a relationship in some way, shape, or form, and it might not be the relationship itself, but an aspect of it, or a certain role that you've been playing, or a certain belief system, or a certain story. And stories have been coming forward big time lately about what story do you need to break up with, the story about yourself or the story about the world, whatever the story is that you need to end, which means, because we keep co-creating reality, every day we have this new possibility and we can create whatever we want. And remember, we're talking about what we give attention to, and we create through our words. And so we wake up and we say the same story that we've been saying for the last 10 years. And so we end up creating the same things. So what's the story you may need to release yourself from, and ask, is that still accurate? Is it still true? Yeah. So what do you need to let die? Yeah. All right. Let us see who is next here. All right. Let's see. We'll get to that now. Samantha Becker, you're the one that's coming forward. So let's see what your guides want to tell you. Samantha Becker. So if you want a reading, just keep asking, and I will do my best to get to as many people. All right, Samantha, the message is coming forward for you is enjoy the present moment. Enjoy the present moment. They say to me, you're not going to be very happy with this card when you see it. Or more specifically, maybe what I should say is you're going to be a little bit confused with this card when you see it. Because there's seems to be a story going on for you about there's not much going on right now that is there to be happy about. So when this card comes forward, enjoy the present moment. It comes from the suit that there is only love. And so enjoy the present moment sometimes just means embrace the present moment as it is. So just the willingness to embrace it. So a little bit like if we use the metaphor that is on here and there's the surfboard, is if I'm on my surfboard and there's no waves, it doesn't mean there isn't an opportunity for joy, or a break or something I can do in between the waves. So we need to enjoy the waves as much as we enjoy the times in between the waves. And so, if you went out on a certain day and it's a very calm and still day and there aren't many waves, it doesn't mean you can't enjoy the time on the water. But if the insistence is there must be waves for me to ride all the time, well then A, you need to go to a different beach, or B, you're going to be disappointed all the time. And so this ability to be at one with what is going on as opposed to trying to make it different to what it is, to enjoy everything that happens in between that which we want to happen. That's the way that they're talking about that tonight, is allow yourself to move through the ebbs and flows and notice that they all serve, and to enjoy them too. So I'm not sure what that means for you, but enjoy where you're at now. Notice what this is offering you. All right. Shiksha. Shiksha. I like saying your name, Shiksha. Okay. Let's see what your guides want to tell you tonight. If you enjoy these readings and you find them valuable, then please either send it out, or another way that I would ask for you to support this is to maybe do a review on my page if you find that these are valuable for you. And I'm always appreciative if you're willing to do that. All right. Shiksha. Cool name, Shiksha. Be brave. Be brave. Pleasure, Samantha. I hope it resonates for you. All right, Shiksha. Be brave, be brave, be brave. Let us see what they're willing to tell you. So Shiksha, I'm not sure. I don't think we've connected before. I'm somehow getting there's something you're needing to face. It feels like there's something going on a physical level. So I'm not sure if there's if there's a medical situation going on for you, or there's something. So there's nothing to fear. I'm not getting anything to fear, but I'm getting that there's something going on from a physical body perspective. And that you're not facing it, you're not wanting to face it. So I'm not sure if that's resonating for you. If there is something specific, please let me know. But I keep getting the feeling they keep taking me into my body, and that there's something that needs to be there's something going on physically for you. So it almost feels like something's depleted, and you're needing some form of boost. That could be a sort of it could be, it feels like it's some form of, I don't want to say medicine, but vitamins or something that needs to be boosted. So I'm getting quite, when I connect in with your physical body, I'm getting quite tired. And so that lethargy or that tiredness, there's something there that when you pay attention to it or notice it, there's some support to be received. Now, when we have a look at this card and we see the card be brave, it takes an immense amount of courage for us to be supported. For those of us that are, strong and independent and we've got all our stuff sorted and we're just moving on and we're just doing things, is sometimes that energy is one of slowing down and being supported and allowing it. And that's a vulnerability that allows us to be cared for and supported. So there's something about receiving care and support and being brave enough to ask for that, to honor that there's something you need. One of the worst things in the world we have, and this is my opinion or the way it's been shown to me, is this idea that we must be strong. And so when we get the card be brave, it does not say be strong, because being strong is the very thing that most of us do too much of. Somebody dies in our life and the first thing we say to people is be strong. You don't need to be strong. It's okay to feel vulnerable, to feel like you don't know what to do next. That is strength. It's infinite strength. And so allowing ourselves to actually step into the allowance of our own vulnerability, is that vulnerability creates the opportunity for bravery. And so sometimes we need to break up with the idea of being strong. So I hope that resonates for you, Shiksha. Certainly it's a very important message for so many people to hear tonight. Right. Natasha Koo. May I get a reading, please? Marriage is messy. I can't get work. Oh, tough one. All right, let's see what's happening there for you, my love. Let's see. Okay, Natasha, you are safe. You are safe. I'm not laughing at your card, sorry, I'm laughing at the messages coming up here. Natasha, there's so much going on, isn't there? It feels to me like things are being thrown at you left, right, and center, and this creates a challenge, because it's almost like there's this defensive stance you've taken, and the defending yourself is a way of protecting yourself. And we do need to know that if we're in situations that are not good for us, there is a need to change them when we can. But when we're protecting ourselves or defending ourselves all the time, we actually end up sometimes feeding the very thing that we're trying to move away from. And so this is a tough thing to kind of understand, because there is things going on in your life that are not great at the moment. They're quite scary. They're quite fearful. And so that's engendering quite a sort of closeness in you, a defensiveness, a protectiveness. And what that does is it brings about even more closed energy. So the question of how do you open up a little bit to receive a bit more. So to receive, whether that's to receive support or receive love or to receive help or receive guidance or even receive abundance, whatever that is, it's an energy of opening up. Now, that opening up is not a softening so that we do not face the things we need to face. It's almost that we face it knowing deep down, I'm safe. I run a coaching program called The Art of Surrender. And the Art of Surrender is about embracing our lives and taking on each moment as if it's the way we want it to be, understanding that everything provides us with an opportunity for our own growth. And the number one thing that we focus on as a starting point in that program is the idea of safety, that I am safe. I'm safe enough to face anything I need to face. And that we make safety an internal game rather than an external game. What that means is that that I start to feel like I can face whatever I need to face rather than trying to avoid and get away from things. And this mantra of I am safe is the thing that actually allows us to find the choices and the courage to shift. The better way I can describe this is that when I feel in my fear, when I've dropped into my fear, what happens is the fight or flight stimulus gets activated, and that shuts down the mind that can think and create and find solutions. And so we literally become quite insular. And what more importantly happens is we disconnect from our intuition. So we can't find wisdom for the choices we need to make. So no matter what's going on in our life, the more we can go, I am safe. Let me hear, let me connect with the wisdom. Let me find what it is that I need to do. And that allows us to shift reality and move out of it. So you are safe as an internal resource. This is the resource they want to offer you. Right, let us see. I just want to see what's going on now. Okay, all's good. Okay, let's see who is next. Who is next? Who is next? Who is next? All right, Kelly Sue. Lots and lots and lots of messages from Kelly Sue Sparkle. Any message from me, from my guides, please, more especially about my gift. All right, let us see what your guides want to tell you. Hello, Tamison. Let us see what your guides want to tell you. All right, so just keep asking and I will get to as many people as I can. All right, Kelly Sue, the message coming forward is step forward with grace. Now, when we were talking earlier, if you were here for the beginning of the session, and I was talking about still your mind and take a step, still your mind and take a step. They're reinforcing that still your mind card. And the part they're bringing up here very much is the step. You need to start acting on it. So if you're looking for validation that you have a gift, well, you do. Of course you do. You know this. This is not news. Yeah. You don't need permission. You don't need validation. What you need to do is learn. And you need to learn by doing. And so you need to take the steps you need to take to remember and learn how to use your gift. So it's not whether you do or don't have it. It's not whether it's good or bad. It's not whether the world can. It's not whether you should or shouldn't. What's important is what are you doing with your gifts. I mean, it's like anything. Imagine, this happens for many of us. We get a gift and we just leave it unopened. So I get the gift of a recipe book, but I never open up the recipe book. So I never ever make the recipes. And I never ever enjoy the food that's in there. As a soul, we come forward with immense gifts. We all have them. We all have immense talents and gifts. It's part of the uniqueness of ourselves. It's part of the joy of why you are here. But most of us spend a lot of time chasing after our gifts, analyzing our gifts, trying to find permission, and we don't actually use them. And so if we don't use the recipe book, you'll never eat the beautiful food. And so the most important thing, my darlings, coming forward is start learning how to use it. Grace is an elegance. It's the ability to learn, to take flight. And so whatever your gifts are, there's a feeling that comes forward of taking action, which is a lot about learning. And so you may need to sign up for the course or find the teachers or do what you need to do to be able to practice, to do it. Confidence comes from action. It comes from practice. It comes from doing something. Some of you don't know my story, but I was previously in a corporate and then I ran a coaching company for a very long time. And this work was work that I resisted doing for a very long time, and I resisted it in every proper way I could. And I was then constantly guided to start doing more and more of this. And the message I kept being given was say yes. When you ask, say yes. And my very first reading, in sort of a formal way, was a friend of mine, clients of mine, phoned me and said, I've booked, somebody's coming to see you on Saturday for a reading. And all I got was a message to say yes, and I didn't know what. I didn't think I knew what I was going to do. But I did, and the minute they sat down, I started doing the reading, and I just started doing it. And have I got better and better and better at it? Absolutely. Have I harnessed it? Have I practiced? Have I allowed myself to learn from my own mistakes? Have I found the teachers and the resources that I needed to remember and to connect with what it is I needed to do? Absolutely. So you need to take the step and move forward. And really start trusting your gift. More importantly, please start using your gifts. Otherwise, it's not a gift. It's just a package. All right, let us see who's next. Cherry B. Cherry B. I hope that I am saying your name correctly. There's somebody that keeps coming past, and then I keep getting my attention, and then it goes. I'm glad you enjoyed it, Shannon. Where is it? There's somebody that keeps coming up. As I start to read it, there she is. Same one. Cheryl? Okay, Cheryl, I will do your reading next. If I forget, please let me know. Because every time I choose someone, you come up next. And they keep saying to go to you. So let us see what we can come up with. Right, Cheryl, let us see what it... Cherry, let's see what it is that your guides want to tell you today. Cherry. Oh, is that your name, Lesedi? So Kelly Sue Sparkle is Lesedi. Or, am I right? Or is that something else you're telling me? I hope I'm not saying the wrong thing yet. All right, you'll reframe, you'll let me know. All right, Cherry, or Siri or Cherry. The hardest part of doing these readings is making sure I don't offend people by saying the wrong name. All right, so step into the void. Step into the void. So I was just talking to somebody earlier on the call about the caterpillar to the butterfly. And this is the caterpillar to the butterfly card. I thought so, Kelly, as you said it. Thank you, Lesedi. I like that. Right, so the caterpillar to the butterfly. When we talk about the caterpillar to the butterfly, whilst it's a very overused metaphor in many ways, it's a really important metaphor, and I'm going to make this very specific. Oh, like Kerry. Ah, that's perfect. Is the idea of something coming from something. So we can even use the phoenix from the flames, or the sort of alchemy of something that needs to transform. And so again, this idea of something needs to die for something to be birthed, or something needs to be faced for something to be created. And when we step into the void, this beautiful card, step into the void means stepping into the unknown. The void is the void of possibility. It's the voice of the place of growth. And when we think about the womb where a soul comes to earth through a womb, and they go into the womb and everything is provided for in this dark void of possibility, and growth happens there, and then birthing happens. And so when we get the stepping into the void, it's stepping into this unknown place and allowing yourself to learn about yourself so that you can give birth to something that needs to flow from you. It's often called the dark night of the soul for many people when they go through this radical transformation place. And so what comes forward for you, Kerry, and as you've quite correctly asked, is for others to get benefit from this message too, is as we sit in this time of radical transformation, or allowing things to be detoxified, for us to step out of the way things have always been. Because we can only create a new kind of place for ourselves if we break up with the way it's been. And then we need to step into the unknown. We need to step into this place of possibility. I was talking about it a little bit just now, and allow ourselves to learn what we need to. In a way, meditation, when it's done effectively, what I mean by effectively is not that it can be done ineffectively. When it's done in that true surrender place, when we truly step into the meditative stance, we step into a void every time. And in that void, we allow ourselves to learn and to grow. And to the idea of not knowing what to do, is something that needs to sometimes be embraced. So Kerry, what's coming forward very strongly for you is that you sit, and it's almost like you're on you're like on the edge, like of jumping in and taking that step into the place of not knowing and seeing what it is that transpires. It's a magical place. Not always an easy place, but a magical place. All right, let us see who is next. Cheryl, I said you were next. Oh, let me go and find you because I did say you were next. Oh, there you go, Kerry. Wow. Right, I did promise. Where? No, I can't. Cheryl. What do I do reading for you next? All right, magic happening in my life, manifestation insights anymore. Okay, so Cheryl, I've seen a few messages coming up for you. I know there was a message about an initiative. I know there was a message around, or a question around relationships. I'm glad it's relatable, my love. Kerry said, all right, so Sherry, there seems to be a couple of questions. Let us see what they want to tell you. Let us see. Let us see what they want to say. So it's interesting because as I was connecting with you, they kept saying all the questions are the same question. They all need the same answer. So I was like, okay, what's the answer? And the answer is mind, body, heart, and spirit integration. Mind, body, heart, and spirit integration. So this weaving together of all the parts of your life and bringing things so that you can notice the patterns holistically. There's this magic that you're referring to, this place of things just materializing, is because you've been focusing on this, because you've been focusing on pulling together the parts of you that have been disparate. And it's important for you, they're saying, to keep focusing inwardly, to not get too easily distracted by outside influences that could easily start telling you what they want you to do. So whenever we're in a relationship, or we start a new initiative, or we do something important, people have insights and opinions, and people get excited and they want certain things, and others don't know your heart the way you do. Certainly, since I've started this business, I often have people say to me, "Oh, can't you run a course on this? Or won't you do this? Or won't you do that?" And the answer, quite realistically, is I can, but I'm not going to, because that's not my heart. That doesn't align with mine. That's being pulled in too many different directions, and I still get seduced by that quite a lot. So they really are giving this message of don't get pulled apart. Don't get pulled apart by other people wanting to pull things in different directions. Stay dedicated to integrating your truth, your knowing, your heart, your wisdom, your voice, your light into whatever it is that you're doing. And that will continue to bring about this magic and this integration. How beautiful. What a beautiful message. So many beautiful messages tonight. Right, let me see. Lavina Lobo. Lavina. Hi, Taryn. Please tell me, is there any message for my guides? Clearly. There is. Am I a light worker? Of course you are. Everybody is. What I mean by that is, and I'll pull the card specifically, is that when you would have seen that this page is called I Am Light Walker. And one of the first channelings I did from the group of beings that I work with called the Diamond Ray Council is they introduced that term light walker, and they said it's quite important for us to start integrating that the need for people to walk in their light. And the distinction we've been making for many years is light workers are people who do work and they use their light for work, whereas light walkers are people that walk in their light all day. So if I'm at the spa doing shopping, I'm walking in my light. If I am at at my office and I'm doing secretarial work, I'm in my light. That we manifest this as the truth, that we start integrating, that we don't work, we don't switch it on and switch it off necessarily. Now your question is slightly different, and I am aware that there's a difference. What you're asking is, are you here to work with the light? Are you here to do